blessed afternoon. I am having a blessed afternoon. Yes, I am. So let me jump right into this topic. I'm not going to hold any bars. I'm not going to hold anything back. Let's talk about the procedures of passing the exam of N.Y.P.D. And this been going on for a very long time where that um, when you pass the test, the psychological is really difficult and hard to pass this. But the union and connections are there to cover up. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. We need officers. Straight up, we need officers. We need police officers. We need law because there's a lot of lawless stuff going on out in society. But we don't need individuals that have a mental illness or mental issue on the workforce, because what happens that it can lead to somebody getting killed and somebody getting murdered because prior to these individuals taking the test, they was hit with trauma, they was hit with depression, they dealt with a lot of things in their family members and just going through pain and suffering. And a lot of these things are hidden from the eyes when you become an officer. And no one knows, right? But the reality to the fact is that these officers that take this test are just like you and me, everyday everyday people that's trying to get their life together and embarking on a journey and a path to fix their life and become officers. Let me tell you something. To become an officer, there has to be inside of you. Something has to have a will and a drive inside of you to become an officer. Just to become an officer just like that, because the pay is great. It has great benefits and career opportunity, which is all good. But if it's not in you, it's not in you. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. And that goes for everybody. So a lot of officers was canned because they didn't pass the psychological exam test. And I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but in our communities, when you have officers that deal with anger, that deal with issue and depression, has mental illness, these women or men shouldn't be able to be upon the force, because when they dealing with everyday citizens in the street, they're gonna use brutal force. They might hurt somebody, they might kill somebody, they might use their weapons when they supposed to be using their weapons. So this is something that we got to think about. What happened is what's going on, and what I'm looking at is that the NYPD, they are desperate for bodies. They are desperate for bodies, man. And a lot of people don't want to put. A lot of people not going to school. A lot of people is not going to college. A lot of people is just not working at all, man. They just not working. Everybody want to be trappers. Everybody want to be shooters. Everybody want to be rappers. And everybody want to sell this marijuana, this weed. This legalizing weed has took over. The youth has took over everybody. And everybody is selling this weed, man. Even though they legalized it, this is the backlash, and this is the outcome of it, man. Of legalizing this stuff, And it takes, during this age, it takes a really dedicated, strong person in order to start to work for the city. It takes a really person, a good circle to work, for the city, because nobody wants to work, especially this generation. They don't want to work. They do not want to work. They do not want to work. And they want to smoke weed. They want to chill. They want to, do TikTok and become content creators, pro creators. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I mean, they found another way of the bag, so they looking at it as that I don't want to work for the city. I don't want to work for the state. I can become an entrepreneur, which is nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. So you got AIs, you got everything else that's taking over. You got the digital world that's taking over. So people like, listen, man, I'm gonna become a content creator. I'll get more money over here like that. I can get 10,000. I can get 20,000. A month. It depends on how much content you put out. So the children has found a way. They found a way of getting a lot of money. They was like, yo, I'd rather become an entrepreneur than work for somebody telling me what to do. So I'm telling you to look at a bigger picture, man. This is a bigger picture to look at. And when procreating a lot of these inventions and a lot of these platforms, this is what's going to happen. Once you figure out that you can get money and that you can broaden somebody else company, and that it could go a long way, it can make you a millionaire, and it can make you live successful and live above means, you're going to do it. These children at 17, 16, 14, even younger than that, they got their own accounts, they got their own money, and they making a lot of money on the digital world. Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work. So, the N.Y.P.D. lower the I think, remember, you need 60 college credits. Basically you got to have 4 years of college, a bachelor's degree, in order to become an officer. So they lowered that now. Now it's going to become even lower. High school, coming straight out of high school. So, once these children's understand and see the progress and see how the N.Y.P.D. has dead people in the past and killed people and murdered people and got away with it, and they suffer the same fate as N.Y.P.D., a lot of them don't want to be N.Y.P.D. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. N.Y.P.D. left a nasty taste in a lot of people's homes, man, of shooting and killing people and getting away with it. And it's been passed on from generation to generation. That how these children is looking at N.Y.P.D. and looking at cops and looking at the state and looking at the government. They don't trust you. So they're not going to become N.Y.P.D. They probably take the test to see if they got it, see if they got the skills and stuff like that. But then after a while, they're going to be like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this no more. And this is an actual true fact. This is an actual true fact. This is something to think about, man. And this is something to think about. This is something to talk about. N.Y.P.D. is very, very desperate of needing bodies. They need people to carry on the torch. That's like transit. They need bus operators. They need train operators because everybody's retiring. A lot of people is dying off. So they need to up the pay. They need to up everything, in order to get a lot of bodies because you got to get people to move the city. And what happened is that they left a bad taste in a lot of these youth insides in their mouth. And I'm keeping it real with you. You out of touch. And when you do these certain things, that lags behind inside of the youth. So nobody want to carry on the city. With the police brutality, the killing and murder. Just like, for example, the young lady over there in the Bronx on Longwood by the 6th train. They found her unresponsive in the cell, saying that she hung herself. A lot of these things is not bad. When you're trying to get people to come into the company and to come into a career job, you can't leave off a bad taste in people's mouth. They don't want to deal with you, and they looking at it as that if I get down with them, all I'm going to do is keep perpetuating violence and murders and keep perpetuating and killing civilians and violating people's civil rights. I'm just telling you how these youth look at things. That's all I'm saying, right? I know and understand that we need law enforcement to patrol our communities. We need this. But they not looking at it as that. They looking at the two things, right? You killed people, you shot people up, you got people off. These people ain't go to jail. You killing people all around the world. Police officers abusing their power and stomping on people and killing people, And on the other hand, they looking at it as that. Listen, I can get my own money. I'm a content co-creator. I'm a content co-creator. I can get on Instagram, I can get on Facebook, I can get on TikTok, I can get on YouTube, and I can make thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'm independent. I can make my own money. I don't need to be working for nobody. People telling me what to do. You know, this is good in a way and it's bad in a way. I feel that you should work. You should work for the state and the city because this is the city that you live in. You should feel some way, right? If there's crime, if there's things that are going on, because your very family member can be suffered with this crime from somebody. Remember Spider-Man? Remember he let that guy go. He said, "Thank you so much." He just killed somebody. You understand where I'm coming from? So that's where he get his power at fighting crime. You never know. You never know. You know, somebody can get violated in your family. So, you should want to protect your city. You know, where you come from, where you born at, where you walk at, where you eat at, where you have fun at. You should want to continue on running the city, basically. You never know your future. You could probably change the narrative of the generations that came before you. You understand what I'm saying? You could change the narrative. So this is an opportunity for all the youth all around the world, the future. You can change the narrative. You can get inside of departments and inside of these state jobs and city jobs and change the policy, change the racism, change the police brutality, change how law enforcement deal with everyday citizens. Do you understand that? You have the power. You have the game. I want you to look at that. And this is your opportunity to do that. This is your opportunity to change the narrative. Do you see how that goes? You see how that goes? You see how the creator opened up the doors where you can change the narrative? I want you to see that. Look at that. Look at this powerful message that I'm talking to you, right? If you do what you got to do, you can get into these city jobs. You can become mayor. You can get into a lot of these programs, and you can change the narrative on how people get hired, how people get fired, and how people get treated. You can change the city. You can't change the city. This is what you want to do, right? Don't add on to the city problems. Subtract from the problems and then add on more positivity. And this go out to all of the youth and all the future. That's why I said you are the key to bridge the gap between this life and the future. You have the power. Trust you me, you have the power. And I know you have the power. So utilize it. Utilize your opportunity to change the narrative. Get in there and change the fire department. Get in there and change the police department. Get in there and change sanitation. Get in there and change all of these city agencies that have been keeping people down for a very, very long time. The citizens and treating people like dirt. If you feel that way, you have the opportunity. It's open for you. Change the narrative. Change the narrative and become a hero. Trust you me, they will follow you. Peace, 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 peace.